All right, guys, welcome back to another KevCAM night class tonight. Tonight have Steve Welsh helping out with any questions that come along the way for you guys. Steve, are you with us?
I am. Evening, everybody. Thanks for the attendance again, and I'm probably as excited as the audience to see some of these features, Kevin.
And then, of course, we have Greg Payton to help me out in anything that I'm missing for you guys. So, Greg, are you with us?
Good evening, gentlemen.
All right, perfect. So, the long-awaited what's new in 19. Oh, and I do see quite a few new names in here. So, unfortunately for you guys that are sitting in every one of these night classes, you have to listen to this again. But every one of these night classes is being recorded for you guys, and they are uploaded to YouTube via the SolidCAM University channel. And here's where we do our night classes and trying to do a tip of the day, but been so busy the last couple of weeks that the tip of the days have been tip of the weeks kind of deal. But if you guys do have or want to rewatch these, definitely come over to the SolidCAM University channel, and you guys can watch them here. And then also, if you guys do have suggestions or ideas that you would like to share, or a part program or something that you'd like to see in the night class, send those over to me via email. And my email address for those of you guys who are watching this on YouTube is in the description here. But let me just throw my email address in there real quick for you guys in the chat. All right, so everybody should see my email address in the chat now. And like I said, if you guys have a part that you just would like to see programmed, or if you guys want to see something in there, we'll definitely add that in the class lineup as well. But with that being said, we are basically going to be doing what's new in SolidCAM 19. And if you guys take a look at our schedule on the website here, broke this out into several different segments because there's a lot of new stuff in here, and I want to be able to show you guys and give you enough ample time to ask questions in here of kind of what's going on. So tonight what we are going to be covering is the new multi-depth drilling and the new face milling feature that is in the SolidCAM 19. So for those of you guys that are watching this and don't have 19, definitely shoot me an email, and we'll get you guys going on 19 right away. And we're kind of just doing a soft release right now. We are currently running SolidCAM 2019 SP1, so it's not just in the beta build or anything like that. We are running SP1, and it's been proven to be extremely great with all the new features that they've added in there. But with that being said, let's get the ball rolling here. So first thing what I'm going to show you guys tonight, like I talked about, is the multi-depth drilling. And this is a new feature. Steve, maybe you can help me out here. I'm not, since Greg and I are just kind of the nerds here on the for the sales for the US, is multi-depth included, or is this an additional, or should we just handle that case by case, or?
Yeah, it's going to be an add-on module, not very expensive at all, Kevin, still to be determined. So okay. It's going to require probably a little bit of post-adjustment, but again, kind of still something that is being discussed internally here.
Okay. So if you guys are seeing this multi-depth drilling being grayed out, contact your account manager right away, or contact myself, and we can get this turned on for you guys as well. So, okay. So first thing I'm going to do is I got two different holes right here. I have, this part is currently, I think, 5 inches. Yep. So 5 inches deep here. We have a hole that is just a straight 5 inches deep here. And then we also have a hole with a window kind of cut out of it right here. So I'm going to kind of show you guys as many examples in different routines of how to do this deep hole drilling application. So first thing, I'm just going to do a quick spot drill for you guys. Grab the geometry real quick here. Something that you guys should be fairly familiar with. And we'll just grab a spot drill. Levels. I'm just going to put this at 0. And grab my diameter real quick. we got a 250 diameter. I'm just going to make that at 270, so we have a little bit of a chamfer on there. Okay, so we have our spot drill on there. So now, obviously, I cannot just tackle this 5-inch deep drill hole with a regular drilling operation. Either A, we're going to have to do multiple drill operations, or multiple different tool with operations. But now with our new multi-depth drilling, we're able to control a whole lot of variables all within one operation for you guys. So I'll just go ahead and open it up here, and it's gonna the dialogues and everything is gonna look the same as you're drilling. The only thing that's gonna change is in your technology. So for our geometry, I'm just gonna grab this hole right here, hit our green check mark, and since we're running a 1/4-inch hole, I'm gonna add a very long 1/4-inch drill here. So we got 1/4 inch, and we'll call this 8-inch long drill, hanging out of the tool or the holder, say 6 inches. And we can do a 5.75 and a cutting length of 5.5. Okay, and then you can see right here, my drill is updated as well. Okay, so the levels, same as before. So it picked up that my part is 5 inches tall. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do to the full diameter, and I'm just going to go just a little bit past. So we'll just do a -20 thou till the full diameter of that drill bit. So now in technology, this is where all the new stuff is. So basically what is going on here is I can create a custom drilling operation per whatever I want. So what I can do in here is you'll see that I have a step number of 1 and a step number of 2. My step number 1 is my safety distance, which is 100 thou above. And I have a feed rate option to change whatever feed rate. I also have a spindle RPM. I have a spin direction. Now this can go clockwise, counterclockwise, or we can just actually turn it off so we're not rotating, and then a coolant option and a dwell option. So now for this particular one, I'm going to want to add a couple different pecking cycles in there. So I can just come in here and just keep adding in there. And I'll just add, let's just say 4 additional ones for right now. So for my first, let's say 2 inches. So if I do -2.0, I want a feed rate of 12 inches at my 3,500 RPM, clockwise with my coolant on and a dwell. Now, what they've also added in here is a pecking, excuse me, my voice is going out. So with a pecking cycle, so basically what's going to happen is I'm going to do a 125 peck right here and doing a full retract. Now, if I want to, I can do a peck for each one of these cycles right here, but I can also tell it, let's say I just want to go up to the operation number 3 right here. So I'm not retracting all the way out of the hole. So whatever you guys specify in here is exactly what's going to go on. So let's say I'm going -2 with that feed rate of 12, and maybe I want to go up to -1.75. So it's going to come up a 1/4 inch right now. And maybe I want to do a feed rate of 50 as it's coming up. And we can leave that clockwise on there, coolant on, and I don't need a dwell for that specific cycle. And you can see as I'm adding this in there, the graph over here on the right-hand side is updating along with that. So now, let's say I'm going to go to a -3 inches. And maybe I want to reduce my feed rate now down to, instead of doing 12, maybe I want to do 8. And I'll leave my RPM the same, still moving clockwise, coolant on, and we can do a dwell right there. Doing a peck just up to the, I can do, like I said, I can do clearance level, or I can do the segment level, which is my segments are over here on the left-hand side. So now I've started at my safety. I've done a pecking cycle down to 2 inches right here, using a feed rate of 12 and 3,500 RPM. And then I'm actually going to come up just a little bit and change my feed rate to 50. And maybe even as I'm coming up, I just want to turn my spindle off for a second. So I can turn my spindle off right here. I can still leave my coolant on to flush out any chips. And now we're going to go down to my -3 inches using a feed rate of 8, and possibly maybe I want to lower my RPM down to 2,500 RPM right now. Using a clockwise operation, coolant on, I can do a dwell right here. So you can kind of see I can build this custom. It's not a cycle, but it's almost like a custom cycle for you guys. So we'll keep building this out here, and let's see, -3, and let's go to -5. Greg, I heard you about to say something.
Yeah, I was going to say that I think we've all been in a scenario where you get a shiny new drill and you look at the drill manufacturer's recommended specs, and it's all over the map. You have to come into it at 100 RPM, and for the first 100 thousandths, you're going to be feeding at a certain amount. And then once you get that drill engaged, you're going to start picking up the RPM. You can start picking up the feed rate. So this allows you to follow the manufacturer's recommendations. I know when I was working in a shop, we used to use a lot of long air tension drills that were very small in diameter. It was a 107 diameter drill, and if you got that thing revved up anything over, let's say 500 RPM, I mean, that thing was wobbling at the tip like you wouldn't believe. So coming into that hole, there was a lot of hand editing there, keeping the RPM down around 50. That way it was able to be spinning somewhat as it's approaching the material, kind of spinning it up for a little bit as it starts to engage the material before picking it up to the final RPM and letting it do its drilling passes. Another thing that's nice about it is being able to control the depths. You can retract it, like you were talking about, Kevin, to where you're not pulling out all the way from the hole. Yep. You can use a little bit of that hole to act as a guide bushing and then go back in with your pecs. That way you're never pulling out fully and once again spinning that drill out of center.
Yeah.
So lots of cool features here.
Yeah, that's a great point, because, as we're, if we're doing a full retract out of that hole, we're basically, I mean, in a perfect world, we're not touching anything at all because we already drilled that out, but we all know that it never works that way. So if that drill bit was to come completely out of that hole and then come back down, that's a chance for that material, some of that material to get a little bit larger at the top and smaller at the bottom. So we almost have like a taper hole where now we're able to fully control each individual segment as what we specify. And the nice thing about this is, we have all the options right here. So we basically just created 6 different drilling operations all within one operation right here. So this will definitely save you guys a lot of time. And the nice thing too with this is, not all of us use deep hole drilling all the time, but when you guys run across that is, you guys find out from that manufacturer, you spend all the time creating this, definitely take the time and save that out as a template. So we can say, deep hole drilling for 1/4 inch and, with my X drilling manufacturer. And then everything is saved. All this data that we just inputted in here is saved as well for you guys. So you guys don't ever have to do it again. But like I said, it's kind of created its own custom cycle, but it's not a custom cycle, if that makes sense. And then, too, at the bottom right here, let's say, I get down to the bottom, and instead of, as it's retracting out of the hole, spinning still clockwise at 3,500 RPM, maybe I want to just switch that over to counterclockwise at like 500 RPM. So we're not, it's just kind of doing a simultaneous, as the Z is going up, here I'm holding my hand up, spinning it. It's doing a reverse feature going up out of that hole for you guys. So, and then here's your dwell. So, if I wanted to, get down to that, the bottom of my part here, plus my full diameter, plus my 20 thou I've added on there, I can add a dwell for each individual one as well. So it's not just a dwell for all these dwelling cycles, it's a dwell for each individual one. So maybe on this one, I wanted a dwell of, 0.5 of a second. And maybe this one, I wanted a dwell of, 1 second. And on this one, I can do a dwell of, we can just leave it at 1 second here. Maybe this one, I don't want to, oh yeah, I already turned it off. Don't want to dwell at all. And then right here, so each one of these segments is a completely, look at it as a completely new operation, but everything is right here for you. And you guys can keep adding as many as you want in there. So let's just do a save and calculate and kind of see what's going on here. So let's do a simulate and solid verify here. And we'll do a single step. And let's get a side view. Oops. And we'll go to our hybrid view so you can kind of see a good. So we're doing our pack here. And now the drill is staying down inside there. And like I said, each one of these is completely independent. Let me zoom out here and get back in picture. And we break through, and now we're going to switch our spin direction back to the reverse direction, doing the counterclockwise at a feed rate of 500, and we're done. So like I said, it's a completely customized cycle for whatever your manufacturer is recommending. And this has been, asked by you guys, so we added it in here for you guys. And like I said, to really gear towards that custom drilling cycle. And you guys, you don't have to look at this as it's just for doing deep hole drilling. You guys can add this for, if you're just doing a 1-inch deep hole, and maybe that first, like Greg was saying, that first 1/4 inch, we need to, speed it up and then slowly slow it down as the deeper we get, kind of like with like spade drills and stuff like that. So.
Still a lot more control, Kevin, right? Oh, sorry,
yeah.
Greg.
Yeah, and we don't even have to look at this just strictly from a drilling standpoint either. For the guys that are doing rotary broaching out there, this would be a great way of controlling the to the manufacturer's specs for broaching.
Yeah, that's a great point. I never even thought about that. So with the rotary broaching, yeah, great point there. So another one that we come across commonly is drilling through an open pocket. So, or interference hole or something along that line. So what we can do here is, we can drill through that first half, and instead of having to take this part and flip it in the vise, add a new work coordinate system and drill from this side. And a lot of times we have to worry about, with probing, we're not so concerned because probing's pretty good, but if you guys are using the edge finder and stuff like that, the inaccuracy that could happen there. So now with the deep hole drilling is we can drill through this first half and then just wrap it down to the second half right here. So let's set that one up. So grab our drill hole there. And we'll grab that same drill bit here. And we'll do our same levels, and we'll do a minus 20 thou, full diameter. Now in our technology, and you guys don't have to worry about adding too many in here, because what I like to do is I like to add a bunch in there, add everything in there, and then whatever is left over, I can come in here and delete. So I forgot to kind of mention this before, but to add them in here, you guys can simply just click the plus button right here. Or if you're looking to add one right underneath this one, you guys can just right click and do add or delete a specific one. So like I said, I like to add a bunch in here. And then what I like to do is any leftovers, I can just come and delete. So for our first, we got our safety distance in here. Now, if I click my line right there, that's going to bring me right to the bottom of that hole. And just for those of you guys that didn't catch that, I didn't have to do any measurement or anything like that. All I have to do is just get my field highlighted, and I can click on the bottom of the part, and it's going to find it for me. So I don't have to fill out the numbers there if I don't want to. Now, let's say, so that first half is, 800 thou. I just want to go a little bit past. So let's just do 825 to round it off. Doing a feed rate of 12, and we're going to do RPM of, let's say, 5,000. And this one, we can do 5,000. And if you guys don't want, with these long drills, a lot of the times the coolant nozzles are going to be spraying everywhere. If you guys like to keep your machines a little bit cleaner and you guys don't want to start that spindle until it's actually, 100 thou above the part, like I said, we can change that now. So we can turn my spindle off. So as it's coming down, I don't have any RPM, so that coolant isn't spraying on there and splashing all over the drill bit and all over your machine. I know a lot of you guys are running without shrouds on there, so that's one way to kind of help out with that. All right, so 100 thou above the part, doing a feed rate of 12, RPM is 0, and our spin is off. If I want, I can turn my coolant off as well. And we don't need a dwell there. So now, basically what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be drilling from that 100 thou to my negative 825 at a feed rate of 12, spindle RPM of 500, working clockwise with the coolant on, and I don't need a dwell, but I'm going to add my PEC in there of, let's say, 250. And we'll just do a PEC clearance of, say, 10 thou. Okay. So now, from right here to here is just dead space. So I really don't need to do any custom drilling or anything like that. Let me get this rotated around here. And so now for my next distance, like I said, highlight your field right here. So right to the 3.4998, we'll just kind of round this off to 3.4. I'll have my spindle turned off. So I'm basically, I drilled my hole, drilling through right here, turned my spindle off as it broke through with full diameter, and it's going to come down to, I think it was like 15 thou above the part, right there with it off. And just kind of look at it as from here to here is doing this. From here to here is doing this, or I should say segment 1 to segment 2 is going to be doing what this line is. From segment 2 to segment 3, we're going to be doing this. So from our negative 825, which is going to be a little bit past here, to right here, we're going to be a spindle off, and we can, to save a little bit of time, we can actually switch this over to a rapid. And it's completely up to what you guys, rapid might scare the guys on the shop floor a little bit, but if you guys are worried about production, time is money, of course. If you're doing thousands of parts, definitely rapid that baby down. but I'll let that up to you guys. So now from our 3.4, which is just a little bit above, to, let's say, halfway. I'll just kind of click. So the 4 point, and I like rounding these off. It's a little bit easier to see. I'm going to have my feed rate at 12 with a RPM of something a little bit slower. So we'll just go with 2,500 RPMs. Counterclockwise, maybe you want to dwell with a pecking cycle, 10 thou, we're good. So now from 4.3 down to the bottom of our part, we'll just go, well, actually, we don't even need that line, so we can delete that one, and we can delete that line right there. So from negative 4.3 down to the very bottom of the part, like Greg was saying, is we want to reduce our RPM, or sometimes we need to spin up our RPM. I'm going to do a RPM of 15, sit down there for a second, dwell, and then it's going to, we can do a wrap it up. So from actually right here, I can add a new one in here, and I'll leave it right at our safety distance, doing a counterclockwise of kind of like what we did before of 500 RPM. And maybe I want to speed up the feed rate to 25. So it is a complete cycle off of what you guys want. So if we simulate this through here, I'll single step it here. So we're doing our small little 10 thou peck. And you'll see right as it hit through that bottom part right there, it retracted that small little 10 thou of a peck, and then went right to a rapid right down to the top of right here. And we start pecking down, and now our feed rate's going to change over here. Keep working down, and spindle turned into reverse and came up out of the hole. So like I said, 100% completely up to you guys on how you guys want to do this. So, and you can kind of see what I got cooking over here is, so that first, safety move down to the 825, down to the negative 3.4, down to the halfway point right here of the 4.3, all the way through the entire part, and then back up we go. So any questions? And the rest of it here is all what you guys are normally used to seeing with our drilling here. So like I said, the technology is the only section that is changing. And let's say, this is something that I do on a regular basis. So what I'm going to do is I'll save this out as my multi-depth, we'll say 0.25, let's just say ISCAR tool. And I can include the tool data, so everything's there. I can include the geometry filter. So now when I go to do this again, I can actually load this as a template. So, and if you guys were to do that, we can just do the multi-depth. We can grab our multi-depth ISCAR, and I'll just re-grab both these drill holes right here. And you'll see all my values are currently, are still the same as what I originally set it up for you guys. So, any questions with the deep hole drilling?
There is one, Kev, and I think it's an interesting one too. Can you circular interpolate a hole with the final pass being repeated infinitely, and then the tool feedback out of the work? So circular interpolation? So
circular interpolation is a little bit different than drilling. Circular interpolation is going to be actually a profile operation. So if you guys are looking to do a circular interpolation of something like this, then what we'd want to do is switch you over to a profile operation. Drilling is just going to be a straight vertical Z move. We don't have any control to do a circular interpolation with the X and Y axes.
And I would think too, with a long tool like that, Kevin, that's kind of was my thought too.
Yeah, you're going to get you're going to get a lot of
thought process. Yeah,
yep. A lot of flex and a lot of chatter if we're doing a circular interpolation, especially on a 5-inch long mill. If we don't break it.
It's kind of what I was thinking.
Yep. So, and like I said, think of this, guys, as your own custom drilling pattern, because I don't want to say cycle, because it's not a cycle that's built into for your machine. But think of it as your own custom drilling pattern. And you guys can create as many of these as you guys want. And like I said, save them out as templates. And I mean, we can add all these different steps in here. I think we can go all the way up to 900 steps in here. So you guys can add as many as you guys want in here and control it however you want. So think of it as your own custom cycle or pattern, I guess you'd say. No. Any other questions, guys, with the deep hole drilling? And like I said, don't think of it as a deep hole drilling or multi-depth drilling. Think of it as a custom drill pattern for you guys. So like I said, if we're just drilling, just this first half, we're only going 800 thou deep, but, maybe for that first initial peck, I want it to go, a little bit faster. And as I get down deeper inside there, I want to reduce my RPM per the tooling manufacturer. Or, like Ronnie has he's only got 1/4 inch drill bit in his toolbox right now, and it's a really long one, and we want to reduce that as we go down there as well. So think of it as, like I said, as your own custom drilling pattern. Greg, did I miss anything on that one?
No, it sounds pretty good. I think you were able to cover everything quite adequately.
Good deal. My voice is dying here. All right. So let me go ahead and close out of here if we don't have any questions. And for the second half, what I want to show you guys today is the new face milling that we have. Okay, so let me just delete this face mill. So with our new face milling, and you guys will notice as I'm going through this, what's new with 2019 is going to take us a little while because there's a lot of new features that we've added in here for you guys, per your guys' request and ideas from our internal team as well. But one thing that you guys will notice referencing a lot is the updated stock. They've done a whole lot of stuff with the new updated stock, and basically a lot of our operations are constantly looking at what's updated from the previous operation. Now, as you guys get programming along, maybe an operation that you guys change up at the top, you guys will get some calculation icons that populate down here. And that's because a lot of these operations are all based off of updated stock, but I'll go through those and let you guys know which ones are all off of updated stock and which ones aren't. The new facing operation is. So if I open up my facing operation here, you'll see that we don't even have a geometry button anymore to pick geometry. So we have it based off of the stock boundary or off of the part boundary. So if I do off my stock right here, we'll just click on that one, and you'll see that it's already selected updated stock right here. And we'll just go ahead and grab, there should be a face mill in here. 100 millimeter, and we'll do a 50. And for our levels, we can do it off of by top of stock and by top of target, or you can do user defined, and you'll have to pick the number the old school way. And technology is going to be the exact same thing as what you guys have been used to seeing before. So we can do a hatch, contour, one pass, or spiral. But let's just do it off of our updated stock right now. So you'll see right here is, if I just minimize what I have going on here, is what I created right here is a iMachining operation that machined the outer perimeter already. Let me just turn that on for you guys. So you can see I basically machined off the entire perimeter of what's going on here. So the face mill is looking at that stock that is left over. And since I'm just wanting to machine the top face of my part right here, it's only going to machine that area. So we're not cutting any air at all. What you got, Greg?
I was going to say maybe now would be a good time to show the expanded functionality of that updated stock from the cam tree. That way, yeah. Just the checkbox next to it to turn it on. Oh, that way we can see the stock representation in real time. And then right click on the icon and include the current operation. Boom.
So this is showing you where this operation is going to start from off of that updated stock. So that's why we're kind of seeing a little bit of a different pattern here. We're not machining air at all anymore. It's looking at what our updated stock is versus what it needs to machine. Like I said, so we're not cutting any air. So if we go ahead and simulate this through here, we'll do a solid verify here. You'll see that it's recognizing that stock through the entire cut. So we're not machining, like I said, any air at all. So it's fully contoured based off of the outside perimeter. Now, let's kind of do a reverse roll. Let me just do a suppress on this operation. And you'll see that it's asking me to calculate because I got the little asterisk right here. So let's go ahead and calculate this. And now, basically, what I've told it is I didn't machine the entire outside perimeter, and it's looking at that stock, and it's going to machine off that entire stock right there for us. So what it's seeing right now is, get down to here, turn this on, and this is what it's seeing right now. So I have no updated material here whatsoever, and I need a face mill off that entire top half. So it is entirely based off of what has done previous and looking at your stock. So one thing to kind of really pay attention to here is, you know, a lot of, well, I shouldn't say a lot of it, but some guys just kind of click through the stock is, yeah, just get me through it, hit a green check mark, done, I don't care. But now with 19 here is a lot of stuff is really focused on that stock. So we're really eliminating any air cuts for you guys. And also as a safety precaution, as you guys are doing solid verify, that it knows that it may be crashing into stock that may be there or may not be there. So it can update the toolpath for you guys or give you a warning saying, you know, it may be doing a rapid through the part, and that's not what we want to do. We actually just ran into that with an iMachine one where it was doing a reposition, but in 2018, it wasn't looking at the updated stock, where 19 it is, and it avoided a certain area.
I don't know about you, Kevin, but in the shops that I've worked in, we were notorious for trying to order stock for jobs and finding out that our desired stock wasn't available, so we had to go to a different size. So by having this where we can just update the stock size and have the toolpath follow based off of that updated stock size, I think that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. So if we actually just come into our stock here, let's just grow it a little bit. This is all in millimeters. Let's go inches here. And so this is basically if I was to pull stock off of the shelf. So obviously I'm not going to have a stock that is, you know, 10.2206. So we'll just say 11 inches. by my Y direction of 12 inches, because 12 inches is pretty common. 11 inches is going to be my saw cut, and a 2-inch thick piece of material. So I can do take dimensions, hit the green checkbox here. And
hey, Kevin, you're going to want to back up there a little bit. The take dimensions populates those values based off the stock model.
Oh,
so you just overrode everything you did.
Good catch. 11 by 12-inch plate, by 2 inches thick. All right, there we go. And you can see my green wireframe adapts to that. So it's kind of another new thing. I think they actually added this in 18, if I remember correctly. So you guys can actually type in a stock size instead of adding to it as an offset. All right, so now do calculate all. And give me 1 second here. I need to update my my 3D sketch here. So I'll just do add box to CAD. So now you can see my stock has definitely grown. And now I'm running something right off the shelf. So Greg went and cut me a piece of material that is 11 inches. Let me switch my units over for you guys. Whoops. Settings. And document, units, inches. For some reason that split over both my monitors here. And we'll hit OK. All right, so we got my 11-inch saw cut that Greg got me, which is off of a 12-inch piece, which is 2 inches thick. So I can go you can see I got my 2 inches down here, and all my tool path has changed. Now let's kind of revert back to maybe I wanted to machine the entire outside first. So we'll just do a quick unsuppress here, calculate all. Steve, is that a bird that you have in your background?
Maybe. That's my wife's bird. Let's leave it at that, Kevin.
For those of you that don't know,
we all know you like going to the park and feeding the pigeons.
Steve is sitting down in Hawaii right now on the beach. And,
yeah, right. I wish. Instead of 10 below Minnesota, but that's another story.
Okay, so now everything's updated, but now you'll see that my face mill path is just going off of the model now, not the original stock, because that stock no longer exists. So that is, I have a whole lot more to show you guys. And so I wanted to show these main things first in this first night class, or the night class with you guys. And any questions that are coming to mind right now, because like I said, I know I already showed two very huge software enhancements from you guys, actually, of what you guys, wanted to see here. But any questions with the multi-depth drilling or the face milling? And hopefully I made this clear, is this is just not what's new in 19. This is just two of the features. Next week, we are actually going to start covering the chamfer recognition and the upper level avoiding chamfers that are already have been there, and the new multi-tool inside the pocket operation and the improved smart face technology. So a lot more to come for you guys, but any questions just on these two features that I was showing tonight for you guys.
Not seeing anything in the queue, but maybe I think we touched on it quickly, but the way that the face milling tracks the changes in geometry by updated stock and target, the same thing can be done with the levels as well.
Oh, yeah. So
if you're changing your, yeah, exactly.
So, yep. So this was new for profile and pocket for the upper level by, you had the stock and user defined, but now we've added that in there for the upper and the lower level, as well as if you guys want to go back to, let's say, old school way of finding your face depth by picking off the part model itself. Both of these ways are associative because it's all working off of updated stock in the model. But two different ways to kind of go on about it now. And let's say, I always wanted to do it by my stock for the upper, but maybe for my my finished depth, I want a custom in there because let's say I'm starting off with a 2-inch plate. I need to machine it down to 2-inch, but I need a nice mirror finish on there. So maybe I just want to take off 10 thou. Definitely switch over to user defined. And if that's something that you guys do commonly, like I said, save that out as a template. And like I've talked about previously is maybe you always want to do it. So anytime you start a new face milling operation, your upper level is going to be based off of your stock. Your lower profile is going to be based off of what you picked it. You can save this out as a template. So as we go in here, yes. And if I go into my settings under templates, I can choose that as a default template now. So I can use, my face mill. So any new operation is always going to have it set to user defined as my lower level and updated stock for my upper level. So like I said, these
another thing.
Oh, good.
I was going to say another thing that's nice is that you can set it up to where you can have a default level for it to do, let's say, a single pass. So anything that's going to be 50 thousandths above, it's just going to take a cut. But if you get it to where the stock is going to be greater than that 50 thousandths depth, then you can start telling it to take multiple passes down.
Yep.
So I don't know. Is this a metric part, Kevin?
Is this what?
Metric part, or are you looking at an inch part here?
This is metric.
Yeah. So right now the face depth is 40 thousandths, roughly. So that would probably be fine for a face mill. But once again, if you don't get the stock that you're looking for, maybe it's a lot thicker and you want to take off more on that first operation, you can set that stock up and tell it that you want the step downs to be at a certain amount. That way, if it goes above that desired first cut, it's going to automatically insert the extra passes for you. That way you don't have to worry about burying that tool when you go to rerun that program with a different stock.
Yeah, so what Greg's talking is now you can see we're having multiple step downs, and it's all based off of what's there. So it's going to step down that 0.2 millimeters no matter what, up until it reaches that face. So, and like I said before, all this has been the same for you guys. So you can do your hatch pattern, contour. Maybe what I want to do is in my hatch pattern, instead of doing it at 0 degrees, I want to do it at 45. Save and calculate here. And I'll kind of minimize that for a second. And now you can see that we're doing it at a 45, but machining it right to the outside perimeter of my part. So like I said, to really eliminate those air cuts, but really to show that off, if we do 0, you can kind of see our tool path change to accommodate for the wider area right here and the smaller area up here. So great point though, Greg. Anybody else got anything before we wrap it up for the night here? Thanks, Rick. Love seeing that. Rick wrote.
No doubt.
So SolidCAM was awesome, and definitely appreciate that. Put a lot of work into this for you guys, and I know you guys give us a lot of feedback. So we're definitely adding those ideas in there daily. And anybody that is looking to get on 19, like I said, shoot me an email or shoot your account manager an email, and we'll get you guys updated with 19. It will be turned on the website very soon. But like I said, we're just kind of doing a slow rollout with this, like we always do for you guys. So, all right, I don't see anything else there. Steve, got anything else?
Nope, that's it. No questions. So you must have covered it, Kev.
All right.
Looking forward to the future sessions too.
Yeah. So next week we're not having one because my wife would kill me. We're having our anniversary, so we're going to skip 1 week, and we'll get over to on May 12th here, and we'll, like I said, we'll be covering the new features that they've added in with chamfer recognition, and also the new smart face technology for picking your pocket operation or iMachining operation. The new smart face technology that they've added in there for the it's more linked to the model now, but I'll just leave it at that. So, all right, guys. Well, I'll stop rambling on here. Have a great, wonderful rest of your night, and thanks for attending the night class. Love seeing. We have a whole lot of people in here, so definitely like seeing all these new names in here. And any questions come along the way, shoot me an email or give us a call on the support line, and we're here to help you out. So, all right, guys. If I don't talk to you in the meantime, we will see you guys in 2 weeks. Thanks, guys.
Sounds good, Kev. Thanks, Kev.
Thanks, guys.
Yep. See ya.